It's Grant, is that right?
Yep. Great to connect, Chris.
Yeah, cool. Glad we
Um,
could meet.
yeah, glad we figured it out. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How many interviews did you do today?
Um, this is my sixth. So it was really
Wow.
slow to start. I've like, I was going to do a update to the client like 2 hours ago, but I only had like three. But I think people are getting off of work and stuff, and now they're like, "Hey, let's hop on a call." So hopefully it'll work out. Because I'm supposed to do like 20 of these in the next like couple days. So I got to average like five a day or more.
What
Um,
is it for?
yeah, so I'm working at a consultancy, and basically, usually just what happens is there's some client, I can't say who the client is, and they come to us, and basically there's some market research where they can't conduct a kind of normal survey. Like there's not really a place for them to like send a Google form and, you get a gift card if you complete it kind of thing. So instead they reach out to us and they pay me, or the consultancy pays me to go and slip in people's DMs on Twitter and Instagram and Discord and whatever else and reach out to people and be like, "Hey, would you answer these questions?" And they give me a survey. So I basically just read through that and then just
Mhm.
follow up if there's anything, of interest that I think maybe you should, dig into. So
What do they actually use? Like, I don't know, your research or like what do they use that for?
yeah, so some of it may be like, so here's a couple different examples of things that it could be. So like one is it could be like, it could be like a hedge fund or like a private equity firm or like someone that's got a lot of money is like considering doing like an investment. They could be considering investing in a competitor. They could be building their own product that's a competitor. So just in general that like a lot of the questions that I will be asking and that I usually ask on these kinds of things are focused on the user experience, how have you been using the platform? Who's using the platform? What do
Okay.
they really like about it? Would they recommend it to a friend?
Okay.
Basic kind of stuff. So usually I think the idea is they'll have some idea, they'll have some quantitative theory about why they're going to do something, and then they
Yeah.
essentially pay to get the qualitative data to so if they were like, okay, we're 100% go on this, all the numbers are up and to the right, like this thing's going to be huge, and then they send me out there and I go talk to people and everyone's like, yeah, it kind of sucks, I'm thinking about switching, I just started using something else actually. Then maybe they're like, oh, this is not what we thought it was. Like we need to dig deeper or we need to cancel the project. So that's usually kind of what's going on.
Okay. So it's kind of surveying a general, you're trying to get like a pool, kind of like a
Yeah. Yeah. It is a survey and it's not very like, the methodology is like definitely flawed, but it's like basically better qualitative data than they can get otherwise.
right. So what are there like, I don't know if you can say, but like, I don't know, companies or organizations or other like things I mean, you do this full time? Is this like your full time
No,
thing or?
no, it's not a full-time thing. It's like it's a contract job, but I did another one for this like crypto game called So Rare, and I interviewed like 40 people for that one.
Okay.
So and again, I don't know what they were looking at, but it's kind of interesting. Um, so let's jump into the interview,
Okay. Sure.
and then from there you can ask me more questions if they come up. So let's just kick off with a couple demographic questions, just so it's noted. What is your age?
33,
What is your gender?
male. I hope so.
And and are you based in the U.S.?
Yeah. Hoy.
Yep. And how long have you been using Whatnot?
Uh, June or July 2021.
Okay. And on Whatnot, are you one, primarily a buyer, two, primarily a seller, or three, both?
Uh, Primarily a seller, but you could say both as well. Like I bought a lot on Whatnot as well.
Okay. And what is your primary profession slash source of income?
Um, I'm a counselor, so I still do that full time. But I probably make more money on Whatnot. So an entrepreneur.
Yeah. The next question is selling on Whatnot your primary source of income? So, I mean, if you make more money there, maybe, but, cool. We got that. So I guess, would you consider yourself more of a one professional seller or two amateur slash hobbyist?
Uh, ask that again.
Are you a professional seller or a amateur slash hobbyist?
I
How would
would
you
say
consider?
professional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you made it.
I know what I'm doing.
uh, yeah. And then would you consider yourself more of a professional buyer who trades or resells items, or to an amateur slash hobbyist?
Professional, buy and resell.
And what categories are you buying on the platform today?
Pokemon's my biggest thing. I mean, I don't know if I can flip this around real quick. I'm glad you caught me at home because this is like kind of my streaming table
Oh yeah.
where I sell like graded cards, product, mostly just Pokemon cards is my thing to answer the question.
Okay, so mostly trading cards, Pokemon, and then some. Do they call? Are the plushes considered like action figures in the? Like, what do they consider it on the
Yeah,
platform?
I kind of dabble in plushies and figures, but that's secondary and mystery boxes and other like giveaways. And the main thing is Pokemon cards. And I guess you could, like, I do other TCGs, Dragon Ball, Demon Slayer, Y Shorts, but again, everything is kind of a side dish to Pokemon.
And when you're selling, are you also mostly selling Pokemon?
Yeah, that's correct.
And what percentage of all the buys would you say are Pokemon cards?
95%.
And is it the same with the sales, 95%?
Yeah,
Um, and was Pokemon cards the first category you bought or sold on the platform?
that's correct.
And what other platforms did you use for buying and selling Pokemon cards before Whatnot?
eBay, Instagram, in person, Facebook Market. Those are the main ones. Oh, I guess through my own private website, but primarily eBay, and Instagram.
And what other platforms do you still use today?
eBay, Instagram. In person is kind of not so much. Well, actually, I still do like at the mall. I'll set up a table and they have like events, or once in a while they'll have an annual collectors event that I'll do in person. But eBay, Instagram, besides Whatnot, those would be the two.
And how does Whatnot compare to the other platforms that you've used?
Um, it's a lot faster. It's half like Twitch because it's more personal, and there's also entertainment, like people throw on lights and games. Um, there's a aspect of chance, like you can run like horse races or wheel games, mystery bags, pool games. So people can bid not really with some uncertainty. I guess that's different than eBay because you know exactly what you're getting. You're buying the product, but on Whatnot, I would say it's different because it's auction style. Like it can be like a minute of auctioning off a card. Like on eBay, for example, this is a random card. Oh, that's a bad card. Let's use like, here, this is not really the best example. Here's a Pikachu card. On eBay, you might get a picture, but you might not see, the details. Sometimes you don't get a picture of the back, but on Whatnot, you have someone explaining, hey, this is from ultra premium collection box and you can get this great. And so I'm explaining more of the condition of it, if it's near mint, and you can see with your eyeballs and, and ask, hey, is that corner, is that whitening? And someone's explaining to you in live time compared to eBay, you're just getting photos and you can get gypped off on eBay as well. Or there's pros and cons to all platforms.
Yeah. So overall, would you say that Whatnot is better or worse
Than eBay? Or
Yeah.
there's other like competitors like Drip and Pop Shop Live and other
Yeah. How do
live
you,
platforms.
well, you didn't mention that you use those to,
Yeah. I mean, those are similar. Um, because I got on Whatnot first, I've kind of stuck with Whatnot and I didn't really feel like relearning a whole new
mm,
live streaming system or like how they do their shipping. And, I didn't see the benefit of transferring because Whatnot holds the largest market in terms of live auction buying and selling in real time. And I would say maybe Twitch is a good competitor to that as well. Um, and I guess I don't have a following on Twitch, so I would have to start from scratch compared to Whatnot. I think I'm around 4,000 followers.
does Twitch
And
have a marketplace?
yeah, well,
Oh,
it's the same thing where you can see the person talking in the corner. They're saying, hey, you want to buy a booster pack for $4? You want me to rip it or ship it? And then they'll top load it and,
but
uh,
that doesn't, they don't handle the back end stuff in the same way with like the labels and the payment.
they don't
Oh,
have their, yeah. So it's
okay.
all through your own creating shipping labels. Um,
Yeah. That's kind of interesting though, cause, that's Amazon. So I've never thought about them
right.
like getting into that if, Whatnot kind of takes off. Or continues to take off, I guess. On Whatnot, how much do you do like number of transactions each month?
Well, that's a tough one. Just in one stream, I could do on average 70 to 150 sales. So maybe like 100. And my streams can vary from like 4 to 6 hours. Um, in a month, it depends because every month's been a little different. If I were to just stream once or twice a week, I would say approximately 4 to 5, maybe, give or take 500, 4 to 500 in a
Okay.
month.
We'll say that. And, just on average, kind of, how many total dollars per month?
I haven't calculated that. Um, some months I've done 20, 30,000,
Wow.
25,000 in a month in revenue. Some months I didn't stream as often. Like I just did a month where I didn't stream at all. Um, it depends because like in the summertime, I'm not working. I have 2 months off. And so that'll be my main focus is streaming. And like last month I was focusing more on eBay because eBay still has more views and eyes that see the car. It's still like the largest marketplace for TCG and collectibles. So it depends because my attention varies, but if when I did quit my job back in like m- last year, March, April, when we're still kind of like in the heat of COVID, I quit my job back then and went full time doing Instagram lives and Whatnot lives. And I would say it was a pretty steady 20, maybe even to like 40,000 a month
Wow.
revenue.
Wow. Um, and then what, I guess, how does that compare? Like, how do your numbers compare in buying versus selling on the platform? If you're doing 20,000 in revenue, how much would you be buying in that month?
So how much would be like net, or how much would be
But kind of
how
on
much
the
I'm spending?
platform, like what's the breakdown of kind of
Oh,
like, yeah, buying versus selling?
um, that depends too. Some months I'm bringing in more inventory. I'm spending a lot, just on whatnot. So, but I also buy through like eBay and other, like just the cost of grading a card is expensive, but just solely on whatnot buying lately, it's been under 300 a month. Um, I've,
Okay,
I've been,
so
I haven't been, but some months it could be 3,000, so it
okay,
could really vary.
so maybe yeah, but like less, 1585, something like that. Like you're doing a lot more selling on whatnot than buying on it.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, you said like 95% of that's Pokemon cards, probably. And do you expect your transaction volume to evolve over time? Like, how do you kind of see, that going?
Yes and no. That's a tricky question because the trend of where the hobby, there's been a dip in particularly the Pokemon collecting hobby. Like it's still higher than it used to be. Like pre-COVID, there was this big boom. People were collecting, and you had stimulus checks. People were staying at home. Also, Logan Paul did a big box break, and all these different factors that made Pokemon way up here. And then like it's slowly has come back down, and the Pokemon company has mass produced more modern sets, so it's more readily available. But back when it was in the peak of, you couldn't go to Target and find any Pokemon products. So it was, the demand was way higher than the supply. And now the supply is pretty high, and it makes it harder for resellers who are selling, modern booster packs. But it depends on what you sell on. I guess I don't know. That's a hard question to answer.
So for you right now, are you more focused on the modern stuff or the like long-term collectible older
Um,
stuff?
my focus is on graded cards. I have about, I would say 4,000 graded cards. Um, and just grading a card can cost between 15 and $25. Um, so I guess there's like some cards that are loose and some cards, you go with CGC or PSA, and, either sports cards and other different TCGs, but I mainly grade Pokemon cards and then sell them on eBay or whatnot.
And so your margins typically higher on eBay?
Yeah, per item, I would say, yeah, it's higher.
And so overall, what percentage of your transactions occur on Whatnot versus all other platforms?
Um, it depends because I'm starting to move. Before it was just whatnot. I was focusing primarily on whatnot. Now I'm kind of putting my hand in different categories like Instagram and eBay more. Um, so before I would say even like a month or 2 or 3 months ago, it was 90% was through whatnot, and 10% could be in person, and other through Instagram, private.
So is it
casual.
partially just kind of the market conditions, like um when demand was so high, like Whatnot was kind of better, but now
Well,
that it's kind of equalizing, you got to be playing in multiple spaces.
there's a lot of factors like whatnot bringing in like 100 new sellers. Um, you go on Friday night and you're one out of 70 sellers, which means you get a lot less views. I could bring in 30, 40 views 6 months ago, and now sometimes you might only get 10 to 15. And when you're doing auctions, more eyes usually generally translates to more bids and more competition and higher,
Yeah.
nowadays you might auction something off and the 8 people in the chat, they might not want it and it's a little slower. And so I guess one of the main factors is the decline in the hobby and also more people selling off their collections. If everyone's selling it, then, and they can get it cheaper online or, there's more competition and, it's less in demand.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And, so typically when you're buying, is it 1, purchases for your private collection, 2, purchases you plan to trade or resell on whatnot in the next 12 months, or 3, purchases you plan to trade or resell on other platforms in the next 12 months?
Well, that's a good multiple choice question. I would say 80% is to resell, 20% is personal collection.
And then, where do you typically acquire the collectibles and goods that you sell on whatnot?
Where do I normally buy my stuff?
Yeah.
A lot was through online, eBay, StockX, some private websites, through my friend. Couple of my friends here in Hawaii, they sell as well. We have events, monthly, at the mall. We have just a lot of big events coming up, especially now that COVID's kind of on the tail end. There's been more collector sellers. So in person, I would say my largest place for buying Pokemon cards has been eBay.
Okay. And, on a scale of from, 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend whatnot to a friend or colleague?
As a seller or as a buyer? Or both?
Let's do buyer first.
As a buyer, I would recommend it. I think it can be the best place to get the cheapest steals or cheapest deals because, at any given minute, there might be only, who knows how many other people in the stream at that given minute in the day. And that 1 minute auction can come and go. And if no one else wants it or, you don't have someone else, who knows the value of the product or card, then you can like win something. Let's say this started at $1 and it's worth $100. You might get it for, 80. So you're getting a $20 discount. So as a buyer, I highly recommend Whatnot because usually, for nerds and people who collect things like sports or even Magic, Funkos, Legos, comic books, figures, I think there's going to be starting to sell, food and maybe like clothing or shoes. They have all these different categories. So almost if you like to collect any of those categories, there's something for you. There's, just a large variety and it's also entertaining. People come on my stream and they don't necessarily want to buy anything. They're just there for the chat, the discussion, just to have a fun time and, be entertained. And as a seller,
If you had to put a number on that one, sorry, for the buyer one, if you had to put a number from 1 to 10.
I would say 9.
9. And then for the seller?
As a seller, I don't think it's for everyone. So I would say 7.
7. And why 7?
I think people have this, they see other sellers do well and they have 100 people in their stream. And when they get on, they're starting from scratch. The amount of work that it requires to do lighting and to be confident enough to know what you're talking about, to explain things, to know the tech side of things, to know how to do the shipping. I mean, the amount of time it takes, the amount of thought if you're running different games, to understand the policies and, it takes a lot of thought and work and to do it consistently. There's a lot of people who get on, they get approved and they might do a box break and realize, not everyone wants this or it's not in demand or it's going for too cheap or I think it's good for people who dive all in and they have some selling experience. They know what they're doing. They feel comfortable streaming. A lot of people don't feel comfortable. You don't have to show your face for whatnot, but some people just don't have the experience yet. But any experience is still, people who everyone has to start somewhere and eventually they get more comfortable. I still get nervous sometimes. I've done probably 50 to 80 streams. And, sometimes I still get nervous. Do I have everything? Cause I'm somewhat perfectionist. Do I have things the way I want? And even if you make mistakes, people understand. I dropped my phone halfway through the stream. My phone dies and people are like, what's going on? I thought we're doing a live auction stream and my phone just died. And so everyone makes mistakes. But it's, you learn what works, you learn what doesn't, you try different ways of selling, you kind of learn as you go. So, for people who want to try it and they're excited, interested to, then, and they find that they enjoy it, then it comes easy. But I don't think it's for everyone.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And, just yes or no, do you expect to continue using Whatnot, for the next 5 years?
I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know where Whatnot will be 5 years from now. It could be more saturated. Fees could increase. But if things were to stay as they are now, I would say yes. I would still use it as a platform to sell.
Yep. Okay. Do you have any more questions for me? That was the last question that I had.
I want to learn what you learned. I don't know how much is confidential, but how much what you learned from other Whatnot, or if you can even say what so and so, said. I'm kind of interested to hear some feedback of what.
Yeah, totally. I would say, so I'm still fairly early. So I'll probably know a lot more on Friday or whatever. If you want to follow up and ask if I have any good, thoughts from then. I think the things that have been most interesting that people have said is most people give it kind of a 9 or 10 as far as whether or not they'd recommend it to a friend. A lot of the people who I've talked to have been fairly new or lower volume people. I mostly talked to, it's been a mix, but mostly buyers, or I guess it's been half and half. So a lot of people going on and buying, they really like it. They think it's more fun than eBay. They think that the design, they did mention the community thing. They said that they've made friends or they've had little conversations about, some guy had a RuneScape binder in the background and then they were like, yo, is that a RuneScape binder? And then the chat was all talking about how they played RuneScape when they were younger or whatever. The one thing is one of the guys told me that he was a former, this is a comic book guy. He said that he was a former addict and he thinks that a lot of people who are in the collectible space are addicts. And that's one thing that's kind of a risk. He's like, I like it. It's got a thrill. I keep coming back for more. And he was kind of telling me that how the design of the platform does make it where you want to buy a lot. And, once you buy something, you kind of want to buy something else just because the shipping price structure. So he was kind of previously I've gone on just to support a friend, as you kind of mentioned, right, and help rank them up. And then I ended up on the website, and then I bought something, and then I ended up buying like a bunch more things. And then like when it came to me, like even the first thing that I bought, I didn't want, let alone the other stuff I kind of bought just because I don't know, I was already there and buying stuff. And he was kind of like, it reminded me of like, sometimes it reminds me of like when I used to go to the bar and I'd have one drink, and as soon as I had one drink, I had like six, you know?
Right.
So those are kind of interesting.
It happened. I think that's happened to a lot of us in different ways.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think that those are the things that have been most interesting to me. Yeah. I've kind of thought of it, as kind of like, you know, a Twitch meets, eBay kind of crossover.
I think in Instagram too, because Instagram Lives has the same chat type of
Mm,
format.
mm, mm. Yeah. So that's all interesting to me. And yeah, they mentioned, the first guy I talked to was a seller, and he was like, yeah, it's definitely tough if you don't. He was pretty early, I think, and they have a big following. And he's mostly just a streamer, and then there's another guy who like actually has the inventory. So like that was kind of interesting to hear about, where there's a guy who basically, you know, he's like a young guy who's like really into this, and he gets paid good money for him. And you know, he works what, like 6 hours a week. He makes like $30 an hour. He's like, hell yeah. And then there's like, you know, a guy who owns all the inventory, handles all the shipping and whatever, and just pays him to run the channel. So kind of interesting hearing about people building businesses on top of this thing. Um, that's mostly it so far. But yeah, if you want to loop back, Friday, I might have some more interesting
I
thoughts,
would
especially if, yeah.
I would reach out to Going Twice. I don't know. I don't know if you heard of Going Twice, but the guy Travis is in charge, and they're on like 20. I want to say 20, sometimes 24 hours a day, every
Wow.
day. And they have a whole team, like a dozen people who just take shifts, and the amount of inventory that they have is insane. So they are, you could go on right now and I bet you they'd be on. Um, but they have a really, that would be one of the guys to talk to is, Travis from Going Twice. There's a lot of good, sellers on there. Um, but, have you
Yeah.
actually tried the platform yourself? Like, have you
I've
been,
gone into them. I haven't bid on anything, or anything like that. I didn't know about it before today, or yesterday. Um, But yeah, no, it's cool. And yeah, the one thing is like some people are willing to talk and like other people aren't. So thanks for the recommendation. I'll see if I can connect with him or someone on his team, like DM their Instagram or whatever. And then likewise, if you have like friends who are
yeah,
users, either buyers or sellers, feel free to
yeah.
send them my way, and the deal is open. And then yeah, likewise, send me your email, and we'll shoot you the $50 next week. My like
Okay.
client will pay it all out. I just put it in a spreadsheet.
My buddy, he lives like 5 minutes away. He also streams. I guess I can like, it's poke underscore stop 808.
Poke
POKE underscore stop STOP
808.
808.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. And if
reach out
there's
to you.
anyone else, just feel free to just shoot me, or just send them my Instagram handle. And,
There's a lot of guys I could recommend.
yeah, I
I,
think the more the merrier, because I'm kind of like, you know, in general with this kind of thing on my end, like I just I just want to kind of set expectations for the client and then like exceed them. So right now I'm kind of like, okay, I got 5 today, but you know, if I could end up getting like more than 20, then they'll be really happy, especially if they're good. But I do need to run, but
okay.
thank you so much for everything. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, hit me in the DMs, and shoot me
Yeah,
your email.
I enjoyed it. Thanks for talking with me.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris. It was great.
Okay.
Take it easy. Good luck.
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000!